That's even easier. Hello, lifers. Welcome to our live Live Fully Academy show here on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I am Joanna Vargas, creator of the Live Fully Academy, used to be the Fit Factor Studio, and I am here live with Ariel Cullors, coolest last name. Side note, because I've been pronouncing it wrong, but Cullors, cool last name. Ariel, how are you today? And welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing really well today. I'm very excited to be here. You guys have such an awesome just company and platform to reach out on. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that you're excited and I'm excited. And let's jump into today's chat. I do want to talk about, your fitness journey, journeys that you've noticed in other people and how it differs and how we can create our own. So tell us a little bit so there's some context for others about how you got into fitness and what brought you to where you are today.
Absolutely. How I got to where I am today is a little organic. I first started off with just purely cheerleading and dancing, and then I went into as an adult. I went into coaching cheerleading. I actually joined a small dance company called Collaborate, and it was a lot of fun. And I did that for a couple years, and then I had my lovely daughter, and that kind of shifted things in my life a little bit. And I got a job just working front desk at the gym, and things were pretty rough and pretty hard at that time. I had actually been homeless for a moment, and my daughter and I, at the grace of our family, were sleeping on couches and
Mhm.
just trying to get back on our feet. And that's when I landed the job, just working front desk at 24-Hour Fitness. And it was really cool seeing people come in on a day-to-day basis and kind of connecting with them and finding out why they were coming in. And then after being there for about a year, I was like, I need to jump up in this. And I had people coming to me saying, "Will you train me? Will you train me?" I'm like, "I'm not a trainer. I'm not a trainer." But I needed to do something, and I've always done something physical and fit, and dancing and cheerleading really kept me there, and that was really my passion. And it started to kind of shift over to my passion being seeing these people and how can I be a part of this? How can I be a part of their journey? How can I assist them and be a positive part of this to help just kind of jumpstart them into where they want to be and where they need to be? And so I started doing group fitness training with Zumba and dance cardio and body pump. And then I also became a fitness trainer. And I've just kind of used my past experiences with how I grew up with my childhood, as well as my experience with early motherhood and just where I was in life and taking on to that, latching on to opportunities that inspired me, and which was really the people coming to the gym and all of their individual purposes and reasons for coming. And it was just such a wide variation. It was exciting to want to be a part of that in some way or another.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of my journey too, and I love that. I worked at a front desk. I forget, what was it? LA Fitness or one of those, but yeah, you get to see everybody, and it's. I also did the phone, like you only answered the phones. That was fun.
Yeah.
What was the biggest? Yeah, you did that. Aaron, what was the biggest similarity with cheerleading and with fitness that you've noticed? Well, of course, cheerleading you were younger, but what's the things that integrate and are pretty much the same?
The dedication it takes and the consistency and the commitment. So on a cheer team, you have to have those things to work with each other and to learn how to push yourself and also condition yourself so that you can complete stunts safely and jump safely without injuring yourself. And the same thing with working out. Your technique plays a part in it. Your energy
Totally.
plays a part in it. Your how you feel, the camaraderie with your space, maybe not with other people if you're solo working out, but your camaraderie with how you feel in the place that you're working, whether it's in your room or in a gym or in a group class with those other people, learning how to just find your space and your vibe with that and push yourself. And as we know, as fitness lovers, if you're not committed and you don't have that discipline to keep going and to follow your program or follow your plans to reach your goals, you're not going to get there. And there's different things in life that kind of push us off our track a little bit.
Mhm.
And we have to stay steadfast to our programs, to our routines, and to our schedules to make that happen. And the same thing with cheer. So it was really cool being able to transfer those skills and those characteristics between the two, but also connecting with the people. I had to, even though they were younger than me, and it was a younger body of people. I still had to find how to connect with them individually as well as a group. Same thing with training. I have to find out how to connect with you individually or in a group if we are in a group setting. And so those things have been very helpful. And I'm glad because I've come across many different personalities and been challenged.
Right? I say if you wanna learn a lot about life, yeah, be like a group fitness instructor at many different gyms, you learn that is a master of, like, psychology or a bartender. It's almost like being a bartender. It is.
I
You
do
learn.
that too.
Oh, did you? Okay, yes. So, you probably know so much about people. It's
I
almost like
love people.
yeah, hairdressers. I mean, you're really a psychiatrist or a psychologist.
You're a
Totally.
therapist.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have so many stories. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. Thank God for your family that you were able to, stay with them when you didn't have a house or home. I call it houseless, right? And because you always have a home, your heart is where your home, right? I don't know if you've seen this new movie, Nomadland. Have you heard of it? It was just
I've
in the
heard of
Golden
it.
Globes.
Yes, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm
It's
excited
pretty
to see it.
cool. Very interesting. It's a true story. And she, they lose their house, but she's by herself and she gets a van and she just drives around and lives in her van. And I love this saying in the movie. She says, I'm not homeless, I'm houseless, right? Because I have a home, I just don't have a house. Oh, it was so
Right.
cool. I just thought it was so brilliant. It was a really good story. And so, what were some of the things that you did, to quote unquote get yourself back on your feet for you and your daughter besides working at the gym?
Absolutely. I just kind of went back to my roots and who I
Mm,
really was. And a lot of that was my passion with dancing. And I got that through the Zumba. And more so looking into myself and saying, how can I grow from this? How can I learn from this? And I was just talking to my father about this the other night. You have a spectrum of things that you can go through, and here's the negative and here's the positive, and you have all these things that can happen in between. And if you're using the same tools to worry about the stressful negative things that you could be putting into the positive and
mm,
better things. You're using the same tools, just like you use the same muscles to frown that you do to smile. So why don't you smile? And it
yeah,
really
yeah,
takes something
mhm.
inside of you for it to flip, to look at the glass half full instead of half empty, and not just saying, okay, that's what it is, but really feeling that and really finding the purpose in that, to say, okay, you know what? This just wasn't my time. This was not my opportunity. That means something better is in store for me. I'm going to be patient on that. And whether you put your faith into a religious standpoint, emotional or a universal standpoint, you have that faith into holding steadfast. And in my experience, that has allowed me to be less stressed, less anxious, and I've seen more positive things come into light because I'm not feeding and giving my attention to those negative things that didn't happen. Ultimately, giving space for those good things and giving myself in a mental place to accept those good things that are coming
I
or
see.
have come.
You're gonna put energy into something anyway, so it's your choice, and you chose to put it where okay, got it, love that. I really like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, and it takes just as much energy to frown than to smile, so which one do you choose? You're gonna take just as
Right.
much energy, and there's no right or wrong, just which one you gonna choose, girl. Hey,
Exactly, exactly. And sometimes you need to let it go, and that's
like,
okay.
yeah,
And that's where it comes
right,
back to that individual. What does that individual need? Some people need to just scream and let it all out, and some people just need to breathe and have a serene moment to just process it. And it's just like you said, there's no right or wrong to it. It's what you need. What are you going to put that energy to? And for me, that was the switch into saying, I'm so unlucky. I'm so
mhm,
unlucky to say that opportunity wasn't for me. I'm going to wait for that luck or that
something
blessing or
yeah, what's
opportunity.
gonna be better? Yeah.
Absolutely.
'Cause, Ariel, I can choose a tantrum. Ooh, when I throw a tantrum, it is really good, but most of the time I choose, like, happiness and smiles, and sometimes choosing that tantrum feels so good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I just wanna
Absolutely.
explode tonight and move over because JoJo is having a moment. Yeah, because I used to, most of the time, "Don't show that, don't do that," and then I'm gonna explode anyway, and it would look so differently. It could look in sickness and, tears. I'm just walking down the street and I start crying. I'm like, what are these tears?" "Well, girl, because you didn't let it out last week." You know what I mean? You didn't have that tantrum. So now I could do a
Absolutely.
real good tantrum. Okay, do you have some fun moments, some funny or maybe some interesting stories when you're teaching? I mean, I have this one and then think about it, but I remember I was teaching at I think it was 24-hour fitness, like in Palos Verdes, 1998. I mean, it was a million years ago, right? And I was teaching like a dance hip hop class, and I'm teaching, I'm young, I'm all cute. And I would always tell stories. I thought I was the cute storyteller teacher, but when I would start telling my stories, I told them too long. And so now they're already cooled off. They're not even getting a workout anymore. You know what I'm saying? And four people are like in the story, and the rest of the people are like, this is a dance class. Like, let's go. And one girl raises her hand and says, can we keep working out? Like, you need to be something like that. You need to stop telling these stories. And I went, I'm like, she's right, though. She's so right. I was so disconnected. I'm so grateful for that moment because I learned so much from her of just like, thank God that she spoke up rather than, we all have students that will leave, but they won't say anything. And you're like, hey, what happened to Susie? What happened to so-and-so? Because she didn't like your class, but she just didn't tell you. So I love that moment. I'm so grateful for that lady wherever she is. So do you have any stories like that?
Let's see. I have just a funny one. I'm quite
Okay. You like
clumsy.
funny ones. Yeah.
Regardless, I'm kind of clumsy. My mom, I'll remember like in high school, I got off the stage. She was like, "You're so graceful and beautiful on stage. What happens when you get off?" and, I'm like, "Thanks, mom." But I was teaching, and when I started teaching Zumba, I was like, "I'm going to trip and fall one of these days. Like I'm going to do my best not to, but I'm going to do it in front of a class. And when I do, I'm just going to pop back up and do it again, and just keep going." So sure enough, about 6 months into teaching, we're doing a shuffle across the floor, and I trip and I slide across like half of the
On your
studio.
tummy? Like
No,
head
on like a
down?
side,
Okay, on the
on my
side. All
side,
right.
and I'm just
Looking hot.
sliding, and I just see like 5, 6 women just running towards me, like, "Oh my goodness!" And like it's just all slow motion to me, and I'm thinking like, I really am okay. I'm just clumsy, and so I
Yeah.
get back up, and they're like brushing me off and like trying to tie my shoes and fixing it. It was so hilarious. I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Let's keep going." And it was just so funny because it was embarrassing, and it was just hilarious that they were so caring that they came, and they're like tying my shoe was the funniest part.
Funniest.
And I was
Such a
just like,
mom.
okay,
Such a
yes. And
mom.
it was just
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 of them. I'm like, I'm really okay. But a moment that I've learned from, definitely in high school cheerleading. When I was a coaching high school, I was also a preschool teacher. And so I would have a lot of, I would call them tools in my basket that I would use with the younger age group. And one day I was with my high schoolers, and I was talking to them, and I was frustrated with them. And a girl raised her hand and was just like, "Don't talk to me like we're 5 years old." And I was just like,
Ooh. Okay.
right. And then
Like, what
I
do I say?
reflected back.
What do I do? Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I reflected back onto when I was 16, and
Yeah.
actually, and this young individual that said something was someone I respected, and was somebody that was on the right track, and wasn't someone who normally spoke up out of turn or with attitude, usually, And so for her to say something like that
Like,
really
ooh,
put me in my place, and
pay
I was
attention.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, okay, this is a different age group, and no matter how I feel, that's no place to. It was a form of talking down. There's no place, and I would never intentionally do that as a tactic. So I need to, kind of pull back here and check myself and figure out a different way to approach them. And then after that, I kind of got into a habit of the open door policy. There was a time and a place to tell me things,
Yeah.
but you can tell me anything, just not in the middle of practice, not in the middle of, come to me
Yeah.
after. You can email me, you can write me, and I would have surveys, and they would be anonymous, and I would, write out 5 or 6 questions every couple months or every season, and I'd pass them out about how they feel. Some of them would be personal about me, some of them would be about the team, and just to really get an honest feedback without people worrying about how they're going to be judged about it. And so I could really check myself and say, okay, take your feelings out of it, be more connected with who you are and who they are and your purpose and why you're here versus how you're feeling and why they're
Mhm.
not getting it across, why it's not coming across to them.
So good. I was just having this conversation the other day also about like Yelp reviews and owning a business. And I was saying, like, if you're going to own a business or be in that kind of situation and you can't take bad or negative, like not nice comments, this is not for you. This is not the line of work
Absolutely.
because like, and I love how you gave those surveys. You got to be open to receive all of it.
Right.
Yeah. When you receive all of it. And when I would get a like a not so nice Yelp review, I'm like, this is information. This is good.
Right.
Yeah, some people wanted to fight it. No, we got to get Yelp. We got to take them down. I'm like, no, this is good information. They're actually right. Yeah, it is not that good. So let's make it better. And just like that girl, we're 5 years old. You're like, oh yeah, okay, there is something. What can I change here?
Yes.
Really like that. Yeah, all these gifts of people that at that moment, yeah, you want to throat punch them, but then later you're like, thank God,
Yeah,
thank
you're like,
God.
oh, okay,
Oh, yep.
okay. And it's
There's some
because we
truth to that.
care.
Yeah,
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 we care. We want it to be better. So it's just like, okay, swallow that pride pill and listen to the people who you essentially are serving. Because it
yeah.
matters. It matters how they feel.
Yeah. I love willing to receive all of it because, oh, yeah, we want to receive the good stuff,
Yes.
but like, oh, those ones that sting. Yeah. Can we receive all of it? And then not taking it personally or with like judgment behind it. It's like, it's just an opinion. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism, a place to grow, a place to be better, or just to have, you know, a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of insight of what can be or could be.
Yeah. Well, with fitness during the pandemic, we are coming up to the 1 year this month. Happy anniversary, girl. We survived. We're here. I'm like celebrating that I survived. That as a
Absolutely.
planet, we are here. Like we did it, right? Because we thought it was 2 weeks, a month, and now we're like a year later. So, with that, like, making light of it, because I get, yeah, that it was not very fun for many of us and more than others for some. With that being said, what is like a big takeaway for you personally now? Because I was really thinking about this. I'm like, when I remove all the onion layers from the pandemic of like the big things that I received, but what are like the onion layer things that I truly, truly got that now moving forward, I can see with different color glasses that I didn't see before? What do you have for you?
Really taking myself off of autopilot. And what does that really mean? Um, Maybe I'm saying this for more than just myself, but for some mothers out there, I work from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And then the FaceTime I get with my daughter is very small. It's dinner, homework, bed, do it
Yeah.
again. And so, we need to get all these things done, on it, on it. And I remember just crying. This was before the pandemic, just crying, full on tears. Um, I don't have FaceTime with my daughter. How am I supposed to raise her? And then the pandemic hit, and I had her on my hip 24/7, and I'm used to working all day. And then it realized I want this, but I don't know what that looks like to have her by my
Mm.
side
Yeah.
24/7.
Hmm.
And I needed to really go through that experience to see what I need to improve as a person. So kind of just, but if the pandemic didn't happen, where would I have had that time to really focus on myself and see where can I be a better mother? Where can I be a better person, an example for her? Which was kind of hurtful to see and put that mirror in front of myself and really strip it down because I'm like, I don't know how to be with my kid all day long. I don't. And then,
Hmm.
when we learned, and then, I was really excited because I was like, I cannot be upset that we have the pandemic because I asked for this. I literally asked for this. So
Hmm.
taking advantage of the opportunities, and as it applies to fitness, it was the same thing. Kind of, I was running myself ragged, subbing for classes, doing everything I could, and and of course making money because I needed to make money and excited for the opportunity to do so. But I was sore every day. I was getting out of bed. My feet hurt from getting out of bed. I didn't have the time to properly recover. I didn't have the time to properly rest. And I couldn't really get a program for myself because nothing was very consistent with all the extra classes I was choosing to put on my workload. And I didn't have the boundary to say no for myself. I didn't have the boundary to say, okay, that's too much for me. And so when the pandemic hit and everything stopped, and I had no classes to teach before we found out we could do things virtually, it was like, oh my gosh, I needed this.
Hmm.
And I didn't know. So now that we're back in the swing of things and things are slowly started opening up, that is the one thing I have to remember is I cannot run myself ragged. Even though those opportunities are there, the opportunity to take care of myself matters. The opportunity to stop and pause and really have those face-to-face moments and really know what is this relationship? What is the value? What does this relationship mean, whether it's with me and my daughter or with me in fitness? Because that can become an unhealthy relationship if I'm not recovering myself properly, stretching properly, and not giving the thing. So just making sure I have a healthy and honest connection with all of my relationships and not going on autopilot with them.
Yes. Wow. Okay, 2 things came up. The first one is, do you feel like it's like it creeps back in that you go into autopilot? And if so, like, what do you do when you're like, "Oh," what's your little trigger for you?
Yeah, so autopilot just when I realize I'm responding to people, but I have to ask them again, wait a minute, what did you say? Or if like people are like, did you hear what I said? And I'm
Oh.
just kind of going, and I'm just like, it's really obvious when I'm not.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't intentionally mean to do that. And so I'll
Mhm.
stop. I'm like, can you give me a moment? And I'll just stop, take a breath, and I'm like, okay. And it's literally, and it's also having that open communication with the people that are close to me and around me, saying, hey, this is something I'm working on. So if I've
Mm,
ever have done that to you, I'm sorry. And if I continue, can we have a little,
yeah.
communication to just kind of let me know, because I want to make sure I'm on top of that. And it's not okay for me to treat other people like that. And yeah, so that's kind of like my little trigger. And as fitness goes, it's kind of like I've kind of put like a hard line on what I will do, what my days off are. And
Mhm,
if it
mhm.
doesn't fit into that, I stop. Like I see myself trying to make it fit and start rearranging stuff. And I'm just like, stop.
Yeah.
No, you set this for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so those are my two things, is having that communication and being able to, you know, have people you try to help you monitor that, and just having the time and the space to say, okay, here we go. I'm connecting now, or, I'm not in a space to connect. Let's try again here. And then really
Yeah.
carving out that space to be able to connect. And with fitness, making sure I stay with those boundaries that I've given myself so that I can continue to do what I love in a healthy, connective way.
That works for me too. I've been really doing that and working on it. It's a new muscle for me, just like building a bicep. It's
Absolutely.
yeah. My new boyfriend, I'm like, this is a trigger for me. This is not you. This is me. When I do this, please let me know that I'm doing this. And I've never had conversations like that. It was always like sweep it under the rug, and I would explode again, like I just talked about, and then I'd explode 10 days later. And he's like, "Why are you mad at me? Because I'm mad at that thing that happened 10 days ago." Now at that moment, I'm like, this is something I'm working on. Let me know. I'm moving through it, and when I move through it, it may look very ugly. Just please, just be here with me. Don't judge it. Don't want to fix me. Don't ask me questions. And it's like repeating it, because so that he can see and know what it looks like when it comes up again. And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I see it now. Okay, got it." But, he wanted to fix it, and then I wanted to fix it, and it was like, whoa, this is interesting. And though with the pandemic, Ariel, I was able to have that time to discover that. Like you said,
Absolutely.
it was just so autopilot. I don't even have time to talk about this. Let's sweep it under the rug, sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
Right? What a gift. Yeah. Well, the second thing, because you're talking about your daughter and you're like, I don't know how to be with her, or this is new 24/7, right? Like I've had these many hours and now I have this many hours. This is new. I had that with myself. I'm like, whoa, this is what it's like to be with me all day long.
Yeah.
Whoa. And I thought I was pretty close to myself. I thought I was pretty, et cetera, this and that. And I'm like, whoa, it's me all the time. Nobody else right now for like those couple weeks or months or whatever it was. And that was like unveiling. It
Yes.
was like, ooh, here you are. You're walking down the aisle and they lift up the veil and it's like, there I am. Girl, how about for you for that? And what was your discovery with you and then with your daughter?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Um, my daughter has been like by my side 24/7. When I was a cheer coach, she went with me for a cheer, but she went with me to like cheer games and practices, but she's always been in like a preschool. She's always had her activities, and I've always had my activities. And I'm also a really big people person. So individually having like kind of like for your situation, being stuck with myself, absolutely, I had that same experience. And I'm used to connecting with other people, and I'm used to seeing other people and really feeding off their energy and giving them energy, that you're absolutely right. You don't know what your true self looks like because you're so busy out here. You're not looking in here. And so, I was actually depressed for a little bit the first couple weeks. Um, and I slept a lot. I didn't really want to get up and dance or teach online classes. Nothing was really exciting. And I took a a Zumba jam class I had already paid for, and I was like, oh, too late to cancel it. I guess I'll do it. And even through like all that roughness and all of the because this was the early time before Zoom got really good at what they do.
Uh-huh.
Everything was glitching. We couldn't figure out how to share the audio correctly with hearing the person on the other side as well instructing. And I just remember being frustrated, but the moment we got through it together and we danced was like I was trying not to cry the whole entire time. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And it's because I missed it. And so that that coming to for me is just like you need to go back to your roots. You need to go back to your foundation. What are the things that make you happy? No matter how hard it is to drag yourself up and to get it done, just do it. For your whole entire life, cheerleading and dancing has made you happy. So do it. When you feel like this, do it. Take that opportunity and do it. And it's just been kind of that mind over matter because, I've laid here and that doesn't feel good physically. Now I'm starting to get aches and pains in places that I don't because I'm usually physically active. And it's just, trying to maintain this sense of being able to do it versus I feel so down and out, I can't. And just kind of like I said, going back to those foundations, going back to those those basic passions and loves that I have really saved me. And even if I had an attitude the whole entire time, crying the whole entire time, it really got me up and it still got me moving. It was like, okay, you're being ridiculous.
Moved
It's
through
time.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And
Ah,
yeah, so with my daughter, it was communication really with her. She's 6 turning 7 in the summer. And I've always believed in communication with her. And so, it's been a lot of telling her, like, okay, this is my time and this is your time.
mm,
Normally we would be in school or normally we would have this, but for my sanity and what mom needs right now is some time for herself. Or mom is working. I know this doesn't look like how mom normally works. I'm working. You may not come into my room at this point.
mhm.
And just like now, she's not allowed to come knock on the door right now
That's
because
cool.
we're doing this.
Yes.
And so it took a long time, not a long time,
Yeah.
it felt like a long time, but it took a while. And like you
Yep.
said, practicing those new muscles, flexing those new skills, um, to really get to the understanding where I'm saying, I'm not joking, do not
Yeah.
come in here
Mhm.
today. I'm
Mhm.
doing something important. And it just took practice and it just took doing it, even if you don't feel like doing it, because eventually, it becomes a
Yes.
part of you and it becomes a habit and you don't have those negative attributions anymore to it. It just kind of falls off and it just helps you.
That must really be helpful to say. I mean, I don't have any children, but it's the same, I guess, with a boyfriend. Okay, this is my time, even though we're together and I know we want to be together, but I still need my time or else I'm gonna go cuckoo crazy. And it's
Absolutely.
really, oh, and Ariel, it's so easy to like fall back and go, okay, no, this is my time. This is my time. It's like a typewriter. I go back, nope, again, no, I want to be with you. And this is what I would like. This is what I would like. And there's room to, move around. But other than that, I'm a morning person. I gotta go for my walk. I want to do
Absolutely.
this because I'm gonna go cuckoo crazy. And it's almost like it'll slowly change. Uh, when you heat up water and it's 1 degree at a time, 1 degree at a time, and you're like a year later, what happened? It's like, Joanna, this is very important to you. This is a high value for you. So I love how you communicated with your daughter. And you're like, again, okay, again, we're gonna do it again. Cause like I'm serious. I'm serious. I love that because I grew up like that. And so I learned that, hey, mom, this is mom's time. She's not playing, you know.
Right, because we do
Yeah,
have our
it's good.
good times and we do have our fun times and we do have our together times, but just as important as those times are, and just as important as I make time for that, it's important that you allow me to make time for me. Maybe not all moms are like that. No judgment at all to how you are able to be an effective and important and the best version of a mother you can be for your child. No judgment, but this works for me. And to
Yes.
be able to be honest with myself and to find that and not to feel guilty when I say, hey, for the next
Yeah.
30 minutes, go find a book.
Yeah.
Do not bother me if you have an emergency. Absolutely. But other than that, you're safe. We're in the same house. I'm going to go into my room for 30 minutes.
What works for you? You're so right. I'm like, this
Absolutely.
works for me.
And
I've
be
tried it
honest.
anyway. And yes, and I need my morning walk by myself. It works for me. Trust me. If I'm happy, then we're going to be happy. But oh, yes, so helpful. This was a really great conversation, Ariel. Thank you so much. And you've taught a few times at the Live Fully Academy. And I know once in a while, I know your schedule is filling up, but if you can sub every so often, we would love to have you back. We're excited to have you. And your classes are just so fun and really expansive. And you play really good music because
Thanks.
the cheerleader background, music, right? Yeah, it's like really good music. Thank you
Yes.
for this conversation. Appreciate you so much. And everybody that's watching live, or please comment in the bottom what your takeaway was. What is your thing that is your trigger that you talk to somebody about, and how do you communicate with it? This was really helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And any last words?
I appreciate you again. I cannot just express how much I love the academy and your company and what you have doing. And I know a few people who are already a part of it, and there are people that were also part of my coming into adulthood. So I know that they're just amazing and awesome people, and they just say amazing and awesome things about you as well. So it's just that circle of energy, and I'm happy to be a part of it and to have just been able to share a little bit of myself and what's really helped me to be where I am today. And just the quality of life in general is important. And so I appreciate the time and the space, and to share it with other like-minded and energetic people. I just love that full circle type of thing where you get to meet and talk with people who are excited about the same things in life that you are, and reach out and help and have a platform to do so. So thank you. It's exciting.
Yes. I love those conscious conversations. They're so fun. I can have them all day long, just sit around a
Absolutely.
dinner table and just have these type of conversations. So these are very expansive. Thank you, Ariel. Cullors, best last name ever. And we appreciate you all, and thank you for watching. And until next time, remember to live fully.